everyone and welcome back to my channel. Today I'm doing part 2 of every page that I've ever coloured in my entire colouring book collection. I was hoping that I were going to get it done on the last video, but I've obviously got more books than what I realised, and it's probably going to take 2 to 3 parts. And I'm going to start with the rest of my books, which is the soft covers. I think I've gone through all my hard covers, and I'm going to start with Jasmine Beckett Griffith, and this is her first book, which is a fantasy and art adventure, and I think I've done 2 pictures in here. Yeah, this is the first one that I coloured in this book, and I love how it turned out. This I actually did as a colour along on my channel. I think I did it as a 10-part colour along, and I used Prismacolors for the whole picture apart from this bit. And what I've done is, I believe that this was supposed to be grass what she sat on, but I've made it look like she sat on a feather pillar. I think it really suited the picture and went with the colour scheme that I was going for. I was trying to keep a basic palette. I think when you do keep a basic palette, only use like certain colours, I think the pictures always turn out really nice. So I did use like an old style gold in Prismacolors, and I have got the combo, and I think it'll be on one of my videos, and I tried to make it look like an old gold. So I did use the artichoke. I think I used like goldenrod, jasmine. I have got the combination somewhere up on my channel, but I really like this gold and how it turned out on the skeletons. And on a tights here. I also added some black in as well. The background, I just did a full Prismacolor Premier background, and I used 2 purples. It were really simple, but yet again really effective. I do like my black, block backgrounds in a block colour. I just think they look nice. And then, yeah, I just think it looks really nice. I love how I did the book. And I did use some metallic watercolour paint just to do the skull on, and I think the word in here on the actual spine of the book. And then I used a Posca pen just to put some stars onto that background. Really pleased with that one. And I have got another one in this book what I did, and I did this last year, and I'm not overly pleased with it, to be honest. I have got it somewhere. And I really should start tagging me books. This is the one I did last year. I'm not pleased with this. I did get the colour reference off of one of Jasmine's art books, and she does these art books. I have got a review with them on my channel, and she does pictures throughout all of the books. So all of the colouring books, you can find some of the images in these art books, and I tried to get the colour reference off of there. And I did use Black Widows, I think it was, for this, and I did use and I used Black Widow pencils for this picture, and it started off really great. I love Alyssa's hair. I love how it turned out. It looks like a nice blonde. I like Snow White's hair. The dresses I really like, the apples, the mushrooms. And then when it came to these 2 animals, so we've got the Cheshire Cat and then we've got this raccoon, I started to use the Black Widows and it went wrong. The Black Widows started to pull up the paper, and it really went wrong on the forehead, and then I had to go in with different pencils. I think I tried going in with some Prismacolors or Arteza and tried to fix it as best I could, and then I had to add some Posca as well, just to make it look white in places and try to cover where the paper, started pulling up. And then the same thing happened on this raccoon. Now, I'd lost all interest when I did this raccoon, and it's turned out darker than what I wanted it to. It was supposed to be more of a lighter grey, yeah, it was supposed to be more of a lighter grey, so I'm really, really not happy. And you can't see the lines around his body neither. He did have like fur lines, so it were dark black and grey, and it just turned out a bit of a blotchy mess. And I tried to cover it up, and it ended up really dark, so I'm not happy about that. Then when it came to the background, because I was copying the picture, in the book it were all black on this side, and it had like black down here, so I did originally go over that with acrylic paint, black acrylic paint, and it were looking odd against this background. And the background I did in, yeah, Black Widows, and again it was started to pull up the paper and it wouldn't let me layer it as much with this paper. It just wasn't working together with them pencils, and the black, you know, the background ended up not really good. It could have been a lot more blended, and then I just ended up getting a Prismacolor and going over the black acrylic just to try make it match this background, so it could have really been better. And then when it came to doing the grass, I ended up going in with watercolour paint and didn't even bother going back in with pencils because I couldn't be bothered at that point. But I do like the picture, I don't dislike it. I like how the girls' dresses and the skin have turned out, but in future I would use softer pencils on this paper or lighter pressure. And that's the only 2 pages I've done in that book. I have got the Alice in Wonderland book, but I haven't coloured in anything from this. And that's another book that I'm wanting to get something coloured in this year. And then we've got Mermaids, and it's Jasmine Beckett Griffith, and the Mermaids book I think I've coloured 2 pictures in. The first page we've got, I did all with polychromos. I like this page, I like how it turned out, I think it looked really colourful. I do think my blending could have been better in places, for the background for instance. The only thing that I don't like as well about this, I tried to create a streaks going through the paper, and I don't actually quite know what's gone wrong. I think it just went wrong, and I tried adding yellow at the side of it and it didn't work. And I think here as well I've got some streaks here, and I should have put them all the way to the top of the page and I haven't. I don't know what's gone off there. It should have been to edge at paper, but the streaks look a bit odd. I wish I'd have done them with just a white pencil rather than with a Posca pen, so it didn't really quite work out. And it was my first time doing it though, and from a distance it don't look too bad. But yeah, the background I wish I'd have done in Prismacolors, because I found it a bit awkward to blend with the polychromos, and that's because I didn't layer it up as much. With polychromos I'd normally spend a lot more time and I was trying to rush it, so it was my own fault really. But yeah, it's a colourful picture. And then this is the only other coloured picture that I've done, and I like this one. It's Prismacolor pencils. This is when I first started doing skin, so it's not overly brilliant, but it's not terrible neither. I used polychromos for everything. I don't know whether, not polychromos, sorry. I used Prismacolors for a skin, and I think I used polys for a hair. And then I used, I think it were Prismacolors or polychromos, I cannot remember. And I used some metallic paint and everything for the shells around her, and then I just went and used a black pencil to black out the background, and that's all I did for that picture. And it's got a lot of glitter and metallic on. I don't know if you're gonna see that really well, but I will try to shimmy it. And that's the only picture I've done in that colouring book. I've got a lot of colouring books, what I haven't coloured in. There's loads of pages, and same with this one. I have got a Halloween book. My brother bought me this for, I think it was last year, he bought me for my birthday. I absolutely love this book and I haven't coloured it in yet, and I'm looking forward to doing a lot of stuff in this book. I do know, I think, is it Rosie's Craft to Colours? She's got a tag going on where it's an all year round Halloween tag, so I might participate in that. Hopefully, there's a lot I want to get done. The next book I've got actually is an how to draw book, so I'm not going to show you that because there's nothing coloured in it. It's just Joanna Basford How to Draw Inky Wonderlands, and I haven't done anything in it. And I have got 2 copies of this book. I've just got, oh gosh, I've got 3. So for some reason I've got 3 copies of this book and I'm not actually sure why. I think the original copy is the first edition copy, what I got. It was the UK version, and I wanted a second copy of this book because my colouring style had changed. And then I bought 2 copies, I think. Yeah, I bought 2 more copies, but the paper was different. I'm not overly happy with the paper quality in the other 2 copies. It's not as good as the quality in this one. Now, when I first bought this, it was when I first started colouring, and my colouring is terrible in this book. I have showed it before on my channel, but I did do the nameplate, and as you can see, there's no blending whatsoever. I was just basically straight colouring. I didn't really know how to blend. This one wasn't too bad. I did it in Prismacolors, but as you can see, I tried to use opposite colours, but I didn't blend them out. As you can see, we've got the like little harsh lines on them little leaves there. This one's terrible. It's one of the first pictures that I did, and you can really see that I didn't know what I was doing with blending here. You can see it's really unblended around this archway. And then again on these leaves here. And that were done with Prismacolors as well. Now, when I first started to learn how to blend, and I think I watched some YouTube tutorials because I didn't know what I was doing, I tried to colour again, so I got my book out and I was practising with these leaves, and I don't know if you can see that, but my blending is a lot better on this picture. It's when I first started to learn how to blend a bit better. It's amazing how much colouring changes. I think I have started a whipping here, and it were a colour along. I used it as a practice book as well. I used it to practice my gems. But I have got a picture somewhere. Here we are. This one I started, and this one was Colour Along from Colour with Claire, and I plan to restart this. I was going to restart it in one of my new books. I'm going to have to see if I'm still going to do that. I don't know, because I found the paper not quite to my liking. The harder pencils might work better, but these were polychromos. I really liked how this were going. I was trying to follow Colour with Claire's tutorial. Again, my colouring is really different on here, and I think I messed this up. It was the fur here. I tried to do some fur, and then I went in with a fine liner and it all went wrong. The rest of the picture turned out really nice. Yeah, I'm going to actually try to do that picture and follow her colour along again, because I just wanted to follow colour along. I'd seen a picture and seen that she'd got the different parts on YouTube, and it was some mindless colouring, and it gives you a little bit of it gives you a little bit of insight into different people's style and the way they colour. And that's the reason I did end up buying a second copy. Again, I use this for practising my gems, and that's what I was going to do. I was going to start using this book as a practice book, and I was really happy with how them turned out. And then we come into the other copies that I've got. I think I started one here and the metallic paint wasn't going down very well at all. My idea was to colour the border in all metallic and it just went totally wrong. So I give up and I didn't like it, and I ended up buying another book. And that's the only thing I've coloured in with that page. And the third copy, what I've got, I've ripped that page out. So I've got the title page here, and as you can see, it should have that page. I did try to do that page again, and the same thing happened. The paint wasn't going down very well. But I have seen people doing really nice pictures using this paper. So I think I'm just going to stick to pencils and Distress ink with this book. It is a shame because I really love the paper quality of the original book. But for some reason I can't get hold of it. The next one is Harry Potter, and this is when I very first started colouring. I picked this up at my supermarket. I didn't have many pencils. I think I just had Crayola, Crayola colouring pencils. It is a nice book actually. It's not a bad book. It's got some of the reference pictures at the back. So as you can see there, we've got reference pictures. And I think I started to colour the night bus and I didn't know what I was doing. I've got it somewhere. So we've got this night bus here that I started to colour, and as you can see, I didn't know what I was doing with that sky. I did it black and grey, and it was with Crayolas, and you can see the blending and the colouring's not great at all. I'd love to do this picture and start this picture now with Prismacolors or some of my other pencils and see how it turns out. I might actually buy this book again just to do that, just to see the difference. That's the reason I haven't finished this picture as well, because my colouring's changed. So if I were to colour it now, it'd probably look really odd. It's not going to match the rest of the picture, and I would love to do this sky again. But I've got a lot of pages that haven't been coloured. That were on it page that I've coloured in that book. On the next book, it's Pop Manga Mermaids and Other Sea Creatures by Camilla D'Errico. This is a really nice book. I did start a picture in this book and I haven't finished it. And the reason why is because I didn't really like the picture, how it turned out. I'd just got some metallic watercolour paints. I think it was the JD by Karen. I think it's JD Designs. And I had just purchased some acrylic paint and I'd never used it before. And I wanted to try a background idea, and it to be honest, it went wrong. What I did is I did the background in like the green acrylic, and then I tried to add some circles with the acrylic, and I shouldn't have done that. What I should have done is I should have drew the circles and then coloured them in with pencil, and I didn't do that, and I don't know why I didn't. And then the paint, I wasn't liking the effect. It does look shimmery, but it's just not, I'm just not liking it. So I never finished it off, and I didn't like how the crown turned out. Maybe one day I will try to finish it and maybe, see if I can salvage it a bit. But it's a really nice book. It just went wrong and it put me off. The next book that I've got here is by the same artist, and it's the Pop Manga Cute and Creepy book. And I absolutely love this book, and it's the second copy that I've bought of this. And unfortunately, I am going to have to buy another copy because I've ruined this book. I will show you the coloured pictures that I've done, but I have spilt some kind of glue on it. And it's dried and stuck all my pages together, and it's damaged a lot of the paper inside the book. so I am going to have to go and order another copy of this and start from scratch, unfortunately. But it's not overly too bad because there is a lot of pictures that I would like to redo in this book. And the first one that I did do is the this double spread, and I did it with Black Widows. I did the skin with the Black Widows. I did Inktense for the flower and a skirt. I used Distress ink around the whole page just to I think I'd only just bought the Distress ink. It was my first time using them, and then I went over everything with Stickles and Mod Podge glitter. And I really don't like how he turned out. I like his eyes, but I don't know if you can see that. The pages are ripped there. And then coming on to the second page, I haven't coloured out, but as you can see, it's damaged. All here, it's damaged. I'm going to have to get another book. And again, it's damaged up here as well. I can't even cut it off neither. And with the second page I was really pleased with how this turned out, so that's another reason why I'm really not happy that I've damaged this book, because some of this page did get damaged as well. I was really happy with how she turned out. I used Prismacolor Premier pencils for her hair and her skin. It didn't take me long. I won't put in a lot of effort. I wanted it, you know, to be a really quick picture, but I really liked the effect. I did put some glossy scents on her eyes and it made her look, you know, to make them look 3D. And then I used Distress ink for the old background, and I did use I think it was a Pentel glitter pen to go over all the webbing. And then I smothered it all in glitter, so I just put some silver powdered glitter over everything, and then I did the same on this page, and I used the Glossier Scents, and I think it's the Glossier Scents that I've spilt, and it's gone and ruined all my book, and I don't actually know how that's happened. Here you'll see it's a bit darker. It's because some of the Distress ink from the opposite side of the page has leaked through. I'm going to cover it up with some glitter though, but unfortunately I think I'm just going to have to get this book again. I'm going to actually order it. And then another ruined page. I had the glue all over this page and it ripped a big section of the book here, and I tried to get the paper and stick it together with glue, and then I tried to save the page and try to disguise it, so I went over the whole page with Distress ink, and then I've gone over with it with a gloss. It was like a clear acrylic gel to try sealing that paper, and it just to try save the page rather than rip it out, and it looks a total mess. And as you can see, I've got glue and Distress ink all over this page, so I think the book, I'm going to have to get another one. And I'm quite devastated really, because I've done another page in back of here which I quite liked, and I'm going to have to start all over again. And this is one I did, Prismacolor Premier pencils, and I tried to create a little bit of a glow, and then I just did like a soft Distress ink background for that. So she's kind of crazy looking, but I did like how she turned out, and I've done quite a few pages in there, and I were hoping to get a lot of pages done out of this book, but I am going to have to start from the beginning. I'm going to have to order a new one. It is what it is. And I'm on to my Joanna Basford books, and I'm not sure which ones I've coloured in and which ones I haven't, because I have got a couple of copies of some of the books, what I've picked 2 copies of. So I'm going to start off with Secret Garden, and I think I've got a whip in here and not a coloured finished page. So I'm just going to give it to that page. Yeah, This one were done with polychromos, and as you can see it's an unfinished page. And I started this with a colour palette from Colour with Claire. She did a colour palette, I think it were an autumn colour palette, and it were using only about 4 or 5 pencils, and I cannot remember the colour combinations that I used, and that's why it's never been finished. I would like to maybe try look that back up and see if I can find the colour combinations. And that is the only picture that I've done in this book. I think it's a bit too, you know, detailed for me. And then we've got Magical Jungle, and this is also from when I first started colouring, and I've gone to do one picture in here and I haven't been back to it since. And I did this with Crayola coloured pencils, and you can tell the difference. I have got you know, really harsh lines across these leaves here. You can see how different my colouring is from what it was back then. And then these leaves here, there's just no in between colour, it just goes from one dark colour to other, and it's just not blended in the middle. And with these Crayolas also, you can see how lighter they are compared to your Prismacolors and that. I'm really looking forward to doing some pictures in this book, actually, because it is a nice book. This one is also Johanna Basford. It's World of Flowers. Now, I bought all the Johanna's books when I first started colouring. This was before I started to even think about doing hair and skin. And I think this one with Prismacolors, and you can see my colouring's got a bit better on this picture. The blending has improved, but it's still not fantastic on these leaves. I might go over them. I could come in and finish this picture and I could fix these leaves with no problem. I might actually fix this one day. I did end up stenciling this Tinkerbell out myself, just to give it a bit of my own touch as well. I do actually like this picture. I think I might finish it off. Yeah, I definitely can go in and fix these leaves. And that's the only one out of that one I've done. The Lost Ocean, I've got 3 copies, so I'm just going to have to see which ones I've coloured in. And I haven't coloured a lot in this one as well, because it is very intricate. And I think I started with fine liners just to test the paper on that one. I think that's it for that one actually. I think I was just testing paper on it. I have done, I did start a picture in one of them. I'm just going to have to see which one it is. This was done in fine liners, and I started to do that page in fine liners. It was when I first started colouring. I think I were having problems with the fine liners. I was worried that they were going to completely bleed through the page on my darker colours. Because it's Lost Ocean, we've got so much tiny details in these books. And I was really worried that I was going to ruin all the other pages if I used my fine liners with the ink leaking. I'm just going to see. It is a nice book though. Really pretty pictures. Ah, I know, yeah, it is. It's in this book. Just find it. I started to do this one, and again you can see my blending is terrible, but even though it is, I really like this. I think I was using Prismacolors. It was when I first bought it. I could go back into this picture and I could fix that. I could blend it all out properly now. I did use some gel pens and fine liners, and I was planning on doing something different and using like a dotted technique to do the things, and I didn't finish it off. I started doing this one with gel pens and I never finished it, and then I did the background, and I just decided to do the background in soft pastels, and I really just liked how the simple background looked. So yeah, I think I'm gonna have a mess about with one of these Lost Ocean books one day, and go back in and, you know, with pencil and see what I can create, because they are really nice books. And then I've got another copy. I don't know why I've got 3 copies. I honestly don't. Yeah, this one I started with polychromos and I couldn't use them. As you can see, the colouring is really terrible on this, and I think that's why I bought a 3rd copy. It put me off. I used fine liners for that. I think my partner did one in this book. I'm sure we did. If I can find it, I'm sure we did like a skull. Yeah, I thought I had another picture done in here because I was going to give it to my partner, but he must have done a different one in another book. But that's my Lost Ocean. I haven't really completed a picture, but I'm planning on starting on one of my newer books and getting some pictures done. And another unfinished page. This was from B&M. I love this colouring book. I have actually bought a new copy of it. And I did start a picture with Prismacolors, and I was loving how this turned out, but the paper came out, and this was, you know, I think it's more like glued on, and it did come out, but the actual paper quality is really good. It's thick paper, and I used Prismacolors and gel pens for this, and yeah, I was really liking how that came out. I might actually finish that page off one day, but I have bought a new book, and it's the only page I started in that one, and the book costs like £2.50, so you can't go wrong, can you? And then we've got Enchanted Forest, and again it's by Joanna Basford, and I've got 3 copies of this as well. And that's because I really like this book, and I bought the first book was when I very first started colouring. I got it with I think Enchanted Forest was my first Joanna Basford's colouring book actually. It was between that and Lost Ocean, and I think this is one of the newer ones. Yeah, so I picked up this book, and I haven't actually coloured anything in here, and I picked this one up from my local B&M, and they were selling it for like £5, so I picked it up, and I noticed that the paper were more of a cream tone in this book than the other books of it, so that's why I got that copy. And plus I did some colouring in my first copy, and I can't stand it. I'll show you. So this is my first copy that I got of this book, and it's my favourite book of hers, and I didn't know what I was doing when I started colouring this book. I went in with gel pens, and then I've had to go over everything with pencil, and I couldn't blend whatsoever. The blending's absolutely terrible. Some of the papers ripped up. I really didn't know what I was doing at all when I was colouring this book. It was a disaster, and that's why I ended up buying another copy. And I think that were Prismacolors. But as you can see, it was terrible. Same here. I did that with gel pens as well. They were just cheap gel pens as well off Amazon, and it's really badly coloured. And again, I had fun colouring this. At the time, I had fun doing it, but I just didn't know how to colour. As you can see, all these corners are not blended. None of these ribbons at the side are. It's really blended terribly, but that's how I used to colour when I first started. And then I did start a picture here as well, and I think that were Prismacolors. I think that on the opposite page was Polychromos. It was when I first bought the small set of the polys. I think I bought a 36 tin, and that's the only pictures I've done in there, and that's what, yeah, that's why I decided to buy another copy. And I've got another copy there, and I did start a picture and I haven't finished it. I was doing a autumn picture, and I was still doing tree. I haven't actually finished it, it's left unblended. I don't know why I've ended up with 3 copies, to be honest. I think I've bought this one because the other one, I wasn't happy. It was when I first started colouring and I wanted a new colouring book, but then the other book I bought because they were just selling it off in B&M, so I picked it up. And that is the B&M Christmas book. What I haven't coloured in it, it's brand new. I have got Tropical Wonderland by Millie Marotters and Animal Kingdom, and I haven't coloured in these books. I think I started one in this one with gel pens or fine liners. I'm just going to see if I can find it. I can't even find it. Oh, yeah, I think I started just to give it a bit of a tester with fine liners and gel pens, and I do believe it went straight through. I don't know if you can see that, but it went through the other page in the double side pages, and that's why I've never coloured anything else, because her work, it's lovely, but it's really intricate. Like stuff like this, it's really intricate, and you'd be there forever with coloured pencils. So unless I were going to sacrifice a page from behind to do it with, just having a laugh with and having some fun with gel pens and that, it's not really going to work out, because I'm going to be spending ages. It'd take me ages sat there with a sharp coloured pencil. So I'm going to move on next to Kirby Roseanne's, and then I'm going to end the video and then do another part 3. The next book I've got is the Kirby Roseanne's book, and it's Colourmorphia, and I have got a work in progress in this book. It's just a matter of me finding it. I've just seen it. I really should have tagged these before I started this video. I don't know why I didn't. It's here. This one, I'm really pleased with how this one was turning out. It was done in Prismacolors, and for some reason I haven't finished it. I've got all this detail to do around here. I could easily go in with some watercolour pencils and get that done really quick. I don't know why I haven't done that. It's going to be on my list to finish. Yeah, I used Prismacolors, white Posca pen, and I did a very, very simple background. I just used like yellow just to do a simple background, but I like how the pictures turned out, and it's the only one that I've started in that book. I think I could go in there and blend that balloon a little bit better as well, but it's not too bad of a picture, and that's the only one I've done out of that book. I have got 2 copies of Mythomorphia as well. I did that because I bought another one for my partner, because he said he wanted a colouring book, because he did a picture in one of my books and it turned out a bit of a disaster, so I decided to get another book for me. This is the first page that I did in this book, and I was doing a tutorial with Colour with Clay using the Neo 2s, and it were a galaxy background. I liked how that turned out, but I cannot stand how the rest of the picture turned out. I was playing with some watercolour paints. I can't remember what paints they were. They were metallic, and I really wish I'd have just gone in with pencil. If I'd have done this bird, the eagle, in pencil and done all the Rocky Mountains and stuff in pencil, I think it'd have looked a lot better. But yes, that is that one, and like I said, I'm not happy with it. It is really shiny, but it's just not, you know, I think I could do a lot better. It's not one of my bestest of you know, one of the bestest pictures I did. This one, again, I was still new to colouring when I got this book, and I started this page, and I actually don't mind it. I think my colouring's changed since this picture as well. I'd have done a lot of things different, but it were going quite well, and I just never finished it because it were taking ages, and my partner decided to do a picture in this book. He asked me if he could do a picture, and I says, oh yeah. I says just use these pencils, because he asked me what pencils to use, and I said use my small set of Prismacolors, and I had ordered a set of Prismacolors off of eBay, I think it was. It were either eBay or Amazon, and when they came, they were fake Prismacolors, and they were terrible pencils, and he's gone and picked the wrong pencils up, and he tried to do this wolf. And yeah, he damaged the paper, and he spent about 5 hours trying to do this wolf, because obviously the pencils weren't blending, and it turned out really terrible, as you can see. And he's gone over with it with the black marker. I think he used a watercolour felt tip, and yeah, he gave up on it, and I was just laughing, and I ended up buying a new book for that, and I haven't done anything in the new book. So I've got a brand new book of this to colour in, and I really like this book, so that one's mine. And I've got Imagimorphia, and I don't think I've done anything in here. I've got a lot of books I ain't coloured in. I have got one, just bear with me. I did start a whipping this one, and I never finished it. I didn't like how it was turning out. I might one day go in and finish it. I decided to do one swan black, one swan pink, and I were going to swap the background. So I were going to give the swan a light background, and then the pink swan a dark background. I did go in with polychromos, and for some reason I didn't finish this page. It was just taking ages. I might one day decide to finish it, we'll have to see. But yeah, that's the only thing I started in there and didn't finish. Right, so I'm going to finish this video here, and then I'm going to show you the rest of my colouring pages that I've done in part 3, because otherwise they're going to be really long videos. Thank you for watching, and I shall see you all soon.